Joy and deep relief for families and a nation that waited 2 long years for this moment. And in Gaza, celebrations as detainees held without charge returned home. Tonight, that exchange a significant step towards ending the war in Gaza.
This is the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
Donald Trump's victory lap proclaiming peace, but Israel and Hamas haven't yet agreed to next steps. We break down the road ahead. And back to the bargaining table in Alberta 1 week into the teachers' strike.
I think the uncertainty is stressful.
Plus, the Canadian winner of a Nobel Prize.
It's like the dream of a lifetime come true.
His groundbreaking work now inspiring the next generation.
From CBC News, this is The National with Chief Correspondent Adrian Arsenault.
Thanks for joining us. Tonight, the last 20 surviving hostages held captive by Hamas-led militants are home, safe, and free for the first time in 2 years. It's one thing to say, another to see. Relief brimming almost to the point of disbelief, like waking from the darkest nightmare. In the exchange, nearly 2,000 Palestinian detainees were released. Some returned to Gaza to jubilant celebrations. While U.S. President Donald Trump, striding into the region triumphant, signed the peace deal he pushed to fruition at a gathering of global leaders in Egypt. Even with the wounds of 2 years of war very much open, Margaret Evans shows us, for many, this is still a moment of hope.
Glimpses of Red Cross convoys crossing a battle-scarred landscape. And eventually, of those much longed for. The last living Israeli hostages released Monday morning, some visibly altered by their 2 years of captivity, others looking remarkably relaxed, at least on the surface. And waiting for them, an anxious nation, erupting with joy at the news they were home and in the arms of family, siblings and children and fathers and mothers. This is 25-year-old Matan Zangauker greeting his mother, Einav. "You're my life," she's saying, "my life, my sweetheart." With the 20 back on Israeli soil, some 1,700 Gazans detained by the Israeli army without charge during the war were finding their way home. In a land soaked with blood and loss, they were rare scenes of happiness, warm mothers and sons. It's an incredible feeling, says 20-year-old Abdullah Abu Rafi of his release. Thank God there are still many men left behind. The return of these detainees reflects hopes that the ceasefire might indeed last. All this while the man who managed to achieve what others couldn't arrived in Israel to collect his tribute. The U.S. president, a hero in Israel, and given a standing ovation by the parliament.
Now at last, not only for Israelis, but also for Palestinians and for many others, the long and painful nightmare is finally over.
To the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, booed by Israelis in Hostages Square over the weekend, he offered a hand up.
You know who I'm talking about. There's only one. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Bibi, please stand up.
Two parliamentarians staged a protest during the speech, shouting, "Recognize Palestine." 250 Palestinian prisoners were also released, many who'd been serving life sentences for murder. Terrorists to Israelis, resistance fighters to Palestinians. Some exiled to Egypt and Gaza, others released to the occupied West Bank, many arriving in Ramallah looking sickly. The Israeli army warned Palestinians not to celebrate their releases, even dropping leaflets to that effect. A reminder to those arriving back in the West Bank that the occupation is far from over despite declarations of everlasting peace.
Donald Trump is being credited with a real diplomatic success in getting the hostage deal in place, but his vulnerability, according to critics, is underestimating just how quickly it could all fall apart.
And Margaret, to that point, there were reports that Trump had invited Benjamin Netanyahu to join him at the peace summit in Egypt.
That's right, and he was then apparently uninvited by the Turkish president, Erdogan, threatening to not come if Netanyahu was going to come. President Erdogan, has criticized Israel, accused Israel of genocide, and Arab governments, of course, are insisting on Palestinian statehood. That's something that Benjamin Netanyahu has said can't happen.
Yeah, a long way to go. All right, Margaret Evans in Jerusalem. Without the Israeli president, Donald Trump went on to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, for yet another hero's welcome from world leaders. But as Tom Perry explains from Cairo, even as he signed the peace deal, threats to it were apparent on the ground in Gaza.
The final stop on Donald Trump's Middle East victory lap. The U.S. president touched down in Sharm el-Sheikh for a peace summit co-hosted by Egypt's President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi.
This is a tremendous day for the world. It's a tremendous day for the Middle East. And you can see that this is probably the greatest assemblage of countries in terms of wealth and power maybe ever assembled.
Leaders, including Prime Minister Mark Carney, lined up to shake hands with Trump, who says the agreement signed by the U.S., Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt to end the fighting in Gaza and it's hoped put the region on a path to peace is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
And I've heard for years, this is the biggest deal, it'll never happen. For years, long before I ran for office, that this is the Middle East. It's the biggest, most complicated deal. And also it's the place that could lead to tremendous problems like World War III.
But while Trump claims a breakthrough in Gaza, the peace is still fragile. The Israeli bombardment has ended, but for many, hardship remains extreme. Aid trucks have begun rolling in. The UN says Israel has approved nearly 200,000 tons of food, medicine, fuel, and other supplies. But with so much need, the shipments remain a target for desperate Palestinians clamoring for the basic necessities of life. We haven't seen any aid, and it hasn't reached us for a while. Most of it is stolen, says Ahmed Al-Zanim. There remains as well the lingering threat of violence. Hamas fighters have in recent days squared off with local clans in clashes that have killed at least 27 people. Hamas as well has deployed armed fighters it calls police to patrol Gaza, something Trump suggests the U.S. agreed to.
Because they do want to stop the problems, and they've been open about it, and we gave them approval for a period of time.
With or without White House backing, for some, there's fear of more bloodshed. I think chaos is coming, says Mahdi Atawil. I hope that it doesn't, but I expect it will.
And Tom, there is, in theory at least, a plan to fill that security vacuum in Gaza.
That's right. Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza calls for establishing a temporary governing structure that excludes Hamas. It also calls for the temporary establishment of an international stabilization force to bring security to Gaza. Right now, that remains a work in progress. So while, as Donald Trump says, this is a historic day, a lot of key details about this peace plan still need to be ironed out.
Yeah, so much more to come. All right, thank you, Tom. That's Tom Perry tonight in Cairo. Prime Minister Mark Carney joined other world leaders in praising Donald Trump and the peace plan. On social media, Carney called it a new chapter for Israelis, Palestinians, and the world. And in a statement earlier in the day, he said the release of hostages must be a turning point towards lasting peace, calling on Hamas and Israel to abide by the terms of the ceasefire deal, reaffirming that peace can only be guaranteed through a two-state solution. Well, here in this country, the release of the hostages is being met with joy and the plan for peace with some cautious optimism. Caroline Bargut with the hope from so many that the peace of this moment sticks.
I begin with a prayer of thanks. On this Thanksgiving in Montreal, a community grateful for the release of the hostages and remembrance for those who never returned home. Raquel Luke's son Alex was killed on October 7th at the Nova Music Festival.
You know, all of the stars and the Nova angels aligned for this to happen. None of us slept. I can promise you that this whole community was up and we were awaiting their release like we're waiting for our own family members.
The anxious wait giving way to relief once the images emerged of hostages safe. This Toronto rabbi says it's a win for humanity.
When they came home, our brothers came home, our sons came home. It's indescribable. I'm watching every video of every kid return to their parents and their family. And each one, I need a map because I'm crying.
There are tears in Gaza too, as Palestinians come to terms with all that they have lived through.
You cannot imagine the feeling of the fear.
Nassar Najjar's sister Lena is a doctor in Gaza. Her home was destroyed, many family members killed, but she survived. The Najjars are thankful the bombing has stopped.
So it came with a very, very high price. It came a little bit too late. The recognitions came late. It could have done long time ago with way less blood, with way less violence. But to come late, better than never coming.
He and so many others hope this will be the start of lasting peace.
Hopeful but cautious. Some people are calling it a peace deal, and I feel like peace cannot come without justice, right?
Across the country, a recognition for all the work it took to get to this day. And there's still so much more to do on this long road to peace. Caroline Bargood, CBC News, Vancouver.
There's more ahead as we show you the jubilation, Israelis and Palestinians returning to loved ones. Plus, this process aimed at real peace is clearly far from over. What's in store for Gaza in particular, and how can Canada help? That's just minutes from now. Well, there may be a peace plan for Gaza, but Russia's war in Ukraine is still raging. And so President Volodymyr Zelensky is planning another trip to Washington as he pushes for long-range weapons.
The main topics are air defense and our possibilities with long range to pressure on Russia.
Zelensky said he plans to meet with Donald Trump as early as Friday and will also talk to senators and defense companies. On the weekend, Trump said he is considering sending Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. And Canada and India have agreed to what they're calling a new roadmap for bilateral relations 2 years after tensions ramped up when this country accused the Indian government of being involved in the killing of a Canadian Sikh activist.
We are collectively committed to advancing this relationship now and in the long term.
Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand met with her counterpart and the Indian Prime Minister, both sides aiming to focus on trade and investment and strengthen cooperation in areas like environmental protection, agriculture, and science and tech. Well, negotiations are set to resume this week between the union representing Alberta teachers and the province, their first official bargaining meeting since the strike began a week ago. Julia Wong shows us how families are managing as the labor dispute drags on.
As the Alberta teachers' strike enters its second week, the Halverson family is trying to get by.
I think the uncertainty is stressful of is it, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month.
2 of their 4 children are school-aged. Now they're relying on day camps and family.
We're grateful for what we do have, and grandparents are nearby as well, which obviously helps a lot.
1 week ago, 51,000 teachers in the province went on strike after rejecting the latest contract offer. Their employer then locked them out. The teachers' union says class sizes, supports for students with complex needs, and pay are the main sticking points. There's also anxiety for parents of older students.
She really needs to focus studies for the future, high school the next year. So I'm definitely worried about that.
It's pretty difficult because my daughter is in grade 9, so she's somewhat in distraught because she's a student athlete. Most difficult part is her mental health.
There's just a lot of stress overall, I think.
This longtime teacher is worried too. With no strike pay, she's turning to a line of credit.
It would be in place if we need to get through those months. And hopefully, you know, we had saved up enough for 2 weeks. I don't know that that's going to be enough at this point.
Bargaining is set to resume Tuesday. The teachers' union says it has brought proposals forward. The province says they're under review.
You can play with the girls.
The Halversons are taking it one day at a time.
We're willing to do what we need to do. And if it means having the kids at home, yeah, we're still willing to do that. So.
Families say they're hopeful teachers and their employers can come to some type of agreement to get 750,000 students back into the classroom. Julia Wong, CBC News, Edmonton.
Well, parts of the prairies got a big blast of winter weather this long weekend. Vehicles, including this ambulance, got stuck as snow, rain, and some pretty strong winds battered southern and central Saskatchewan and northern Manitoba. Fallen trees are being cleared. Power is being restored to thousands of people. Some areas got as much as 30 centimeters of snow and 45 millimeters of rain. Well, this is a day Canadian economist Peter Howitt will be talking about forever, the day he won a Nobel Prize. He's being praised by former colleagues, former students, and the Prime Minister tonight. But as he told Chien Desjardins, the honor caught him off guard.
Peter Howitt, Brown University.
A monumental moment for one Canadian economist.
You know, in a way, it's like the dream of a lifetime come true.
The 79-year-old is now a winner of the prestigious Nobel Prize in Economics, alongside researchers Joel Mokyr and Philippe Aghion. Howitt learned the news before the official call, when a relentless Swedish reporter got his wife on the phone.
We had no champagne in the refrigerator. We were not anticipating this in any way.
Former colleagues, on the other hand, not nearly as surprised.
Do you kind of think about who you think should win the prize and, and the work that's transformative, and Peter falls into that category?
That work sheds new light on an old concept called creative destruction, using math to figure out how much of an impact new technology will have on the economy. Take artificial intelligence. Howitt says it's on the verge of creating new jobs while making others irrelevant. U.S. tariffs are another example.
They analyze the particular ways that's gonna matter through these ideas that were in part developed by what Peter did.
Howitt's influence on Canadian economics stretches further. The governor of the Bank of Canada was his student in 1984.
I can still remember a few aha moments in his classes where, because of his explanation, I could understand something that the day before, seemed impenetrable.
That same excitement trickling down to students today.
And it really feels like there's no real ceiling in terms of what I can do with my career or what any Canadian student can do with their career.
The Prime Minister also celebrating this win, saying Howitt's work is an example of Canadian ideas having global impact. Howitt himself says he hopes the research helps pave the path for the next generation of economists. Chien Desjardins, CBC News, Toronto.
A New Brunswick man who was wrongfully convicted and spent 18 years in prison has died less than 2 years after he was acquitted. Robert Mailman and Walter Gillespie were found guilty in the 1983 beating death of a man in St. John. They were acquitted in January of 2024. A new trial was ordered just as Mailman was diagnosed with terminal liver cancer. He died on Thursday at the age of 77. While aging Canadians faced with declining health are finding ways to bounce back.
Can your heart stop for 10 seconds?
The habits that can help turn the tide. And artifacts wrongfully taken from historic sites in Atlantic Canada.
With activities happening in the dead of night.
The theory behind the sudden spike. Plus, the Blue Jays look to bounce back as they chase the American League Championship.
And he did it. Another clutch hit for Lucas.
We're back in 2.
Well hit ball to deep right center. Varsho back, and it's gone.
Ouch. That 5th inning 3-run homer was enough tonight for the Seattle Mariners to beat the Toronto Blue Jays, taking a 2-game lead in the American League Championship Series. The Jays and Mariners play again Wednesday in Seattle. Well, dozens of holes are popping up in National Historic sites along the New Brunswick and Nova Scotia border. It appears artifacts are being dug up illegally. And as Shayna Luck tells us, there are concerns Canada's history is at risk.
It is. What do you think it is?
There's no thrill like the beep of a metal detector for hobbyist Robin Perret of Winnipeg. He's been detecting for more than 6 years, even helping people recover cherished lost valuables.
That's the stuff I love. I love that treasure hunting kind of idea.
For him, historic sites are strictly off limits. But in the last few weeks, someone's been raiding 2 historic sites on either side of the New Brunswick-Nova Scotia border, seemingly digging for artifacts. Staff have found at least 150 holes, sometimes as many as 30 new holes in one night.
We have been able to determine that the activity is happening in the dead of night, and in the case of us, that's probably not with the best of intentions.
This historic site in Fairyland, Newfoundland suffered a brazen dig right through its cobblestone yard this summer. Nothing like it has happened in 30 years.
But now people are actually, for the first time ever, coming in and actually destroying those features to find a little, buckle or part of a coin or who knows what.
Archaeologists say removing artifacts messes with a place of shared history, and other detectorists have a bad name for it.
Night hawks, those are the people that go in, in the cover of darkness and dig up places and, leave the holes.
Parks Canada says they haven't seen this issue widely across the country, but archaeologists say it does happen every now and then. And anyone who's caught doing it on a National Historic site like this one could face a big fine, up to $25,000. Shayna Luck, CBC News, Halifax.
There are new images tonight of families reuniting in the West Bank and Gaza and Israel. The touching moments taking over after 2 years of war. And a growing push to create a link between Canada and critical Arctic shipping routes.
There has been a fair bit of activity already.
Why there's potential for reward and risk. The National breaks down the story shaping our world. Next. New Jersey and parts of New York are under a state of emergency after a powerful nor'easter lashed the U.S. East Coast with some heavy rains and some very strong winds. The storm flooded roads, homes, and businesses and knocked out power to tens of thousands of people. The nor'easter is now on track to move out to sea overnight. Well, Donald Trump gave an unusual shout out to the Prime Minister at the Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
Well, he knew exactly what it was. He knew the importance. Where's Canada, by the way? Where are you? Where are you?
Mark Carney got a personal thank you for attending.
I appreciate you being here very much, Mr. President. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Carney heard graciously accepting the new title.
I'm glad you upgraded me to president.
Before Trump lightly reminded him of his 51st state threats.
At least I didn't say that.
Well, old age has long been considered a key risk factor for poor health outcomes, but there's new evidence tonight that even after a period of major illness, older people can and do bounce back. Jennifer Yoon explains how.
Rock it out. 1.
Looking at him today, you'd never guess Ken Martins almost died last year. After a series of blackouts and falls, he ended up in the hospital, where a nurse told him just how close he'd come.
Said, Ken, your heart stopped for 10 seconds.
Doctors immediately implanted a pacemaker. Now, after months of working out and making friends at the gym, he says he feels like a new man.
I feel like I'm in better or as good a health as I've ever been.
It's not as rare a story as you might think, say researchers. A recent Canadian study followed thousands of adults over 60 going through a period of bad health. 3 years later, a quarter of them recovered so much, they say they felt they were in optimal health.
Aging is not just about like a doom and gloom or decline or deterioration, but there are many things we can do.
Some factors that appear to have made a difference: staying physically active, not smoking, sleeping well, and staying socially connected.
To have someone to talk to, someone to love you, someone to confide with you.
Slow, relaxed movement.
That's why it's crucial to tackle the loneliness epidemic among older Canadians, especially for those who are grieving.
Widows and widowers tend to struggle because not only did they lose their best friend, sometimes they lost their social coordinator.
Greg Carman is going through that grief now. He lost his wife last month, but keeps returning to the gym where they would lift weights together.
Everyone here is very, very supportive of me. I can tune out the rest of the feelings and work out for a few hours.
That kind of support can make a huge difference, and it's something younger Canadians can help with, say experts.
How can the family and friend network rally around to help maintain a good level of social connection?
Because Sinha says it's never too late to look out for a loved one, and you're never too old to build resilience and health. Jennifer Yoon, CBC News, Toronto.
Now it's time to dig deeper into the stories shaping our world tonight from Israel, the occupied West Bank, Gaza, and Egypt. Overpowering moments of long-awaited freedom and joyous reunions years in the making. How a peace deal brought loved ones together for Israelis and Palestinians.
Everybody's happy about it, like I've never seen before, actually.
And the full scale of that deal is still coming together. What will it hold for the future of the region? Let's begin with those 20 surviving Israeli hostages. Ashley Fraser shows us how more than 2 years of horror came to a thankful end.
2 years and 6 days after they were taken by Hamas into Gaza, the 20 remaining living hostages are back in Israel. Each one live-streamed to the joy and relief of a nation, and to their families, many of whom said their first hellos over a video call. Like the mother of Matan Zangauka, her 25-year-old son was kidnapped outside his home in Kibbutz Nir Oz with his girlfriend Ilana Grazutsky. She was released in the first ceasefire of November 2023. God is great, Matan, she said. You are coming back home. And many of those first video calls were made as hostages were transported by helicopter to hospitals. Twins Ziv and Gali Berman were separated during their captivity, on these whiteboards writing thank you for everything. In the town of Lavon, all eyes were waiting for Alon Ohel. The pianist had become one of the symbols for those demanding the hostage release.
Alone, you're not alone.
His mother had led a campaign encouraging people to play the piano in his honor. Sheer jubilation at the broadcast of the first video of Ohel.
There is no words to describe how we feel. The best day of my life, really.
Some family embraces were particularly poignant. 23-year-old Bar Cooperstein's father was paralyzed 5 years ago after a car accident. Since his son was taken from the Nova Music Festival, he has worked to talk and walk again, all for this hug. That pure emotion also echoed in Guy Gilboa de Lau's reunion. The 24-year-old, also taken from the Nova Music Festival, separated there from his brother Gal, today in the arms of his parents and siblings. His friend Eviatar David reunited with his parents, who for years, like so many others, had fought tirelessly for this release. In August, Hamas released this video of David begging for a ceasefire while digging his own grave. Another Hamas video in April showed Hungarian-Israeli citizen Omri Moran. The oldest of the hostages released, he was kidnapped in front of his wife and 2 daughters at their home in Kibbutz Nir Oz. Hamas militants had threatened to shoot their neighbors if they didn't open their door. But today, pure joy from his wife as she watched her husband being released. No! And then finally, reunited again. But all those scenes of undiluted jubilation come with an undercurrent, that the road to full recovery will surely be difficult. Groups representing the hostages and their families say they will need ongoing medical, psychological, and social rehabilitation. But for now, the emotions are joy and relief. For the hostages, for their families, and for an entire country.
The deal pushed through by Donald Trump included the release of nearly 2,000 Palestinians being held in Israeli prisons, some for decades after criminal convictions, some for months with no charges at all. Liberation for all of them, also ecstatic. Cheers in the West Bank city of Ramallah as bus doors opened, jubilation at the sight of released prisoners. For some families, these are the first embraces in years, even decades. These prisoners having been convicted of crimes, including murders. Some held aloft out of sheer emotion. Others looked as if being carried was their only way forward. The crowds celebrated them all. It's an overwhelming joy, great joy, to be reunited with my family and loved ones, this man said. The chapter's closed, but there's a lump in the throat as we left our brothers and dear ones. Indeed, the close to 2,000 prisoners and detainees released are from a total prison population, according to an Israeli NGO, of about 11,000. We were searching carefully for Mohammed's name, this man said of his brother, imprisoned for 13 life sentences. When we saw his name, we couldn't contain our joy. Couldn't contain it despite, he says, being told by an Israeli officer not to celebrate. That warning spread widely in the form of leaflets dropped from drones. Most of the released were taken to Gaza, and there too, crowds greeted the buses that rolled into Han Yunis, city of destruction. Despite all the devastation in Gaza, this man said, its beauty would always be much better than the life we had in prison. But not all prisoners saw reunions. More than 150 were reportedly deported to Egypt. Waiting families, waiting still. Those scenes in Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza, a necessary first step towards peace, but many more remain, starting at the negotiating table in Egypt. For that, we turn again to Janice Stein, founding director of the Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. So, Janice, can you take us inside that room with Donald Trump and all those world leaders, if you can? What do you know that we haven't seen or heard about what happened there?
Well, what I do know is that there was quite a heated discussion over the biggest issue, the International Stabilization Force. First, bigger than we thought, 30 to 40,000, and then an argument about who does it get its mandate from the UN or not. Our Prime Minister feels very strongly that it should be UN mandated.
So this deal you're talking about, I mean, we're trying to glean intel like this because we don't really know what is in the deal.
No.
It hasn't been made public. Why is that, and what more do you expect to see in it?
You know, that's really unusual, Adrian, they don't issue a communique. You know this. I think what was signed was what has already happened. And the real discussion in the room about what next, there is no document. And they didn't want to release a signed document that told us that they had signed off on what had already been done. And they wanted a signing ceremony. In other words, Donald Trump wanted a signing ceremony.
But signing ceremonies are things you do when you declare sort of mission accomplished and everyone pats themselves on the back and then goes home. That's what you do at the end of a process. This is just the beginning of the tough stuff.
Well, we have a different president and we have a different style of working. And so what you said is accurate, except not for him. Now, what did we get out of the show today? We got, I think, 2 or 3 important things. One, he kept that coalition going, which is going to be really, really important. 2, I paid attention to wasn't there. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, was not there. The Emir from the Emirates was not there, and the Prime Minister of India was not there. These are not small omissions, but everybody else was. They signed on. There is an ongoing discussion of commitments, and probably the most interesting comment was made in that meeting between Donald Trump and President ALCS, where Steve Witkoff said, we're already working on the implementation, Jared and I, and we'll be back to you.
Okay. One quick thing that's been interesting today, we're seeing armed Hamas gunmen on the streets. It appears that they've been carrying out executions. Trump has suggested, the president has suggested, that they have authorization to police the streets for a time. Do you see any consequences there?
I think that's a terrible decision, Adrian, an absolutely terrible decision. There's always a short window when, when citizens, frankly, and that's what Palestinians are, want to change and want to break away from a very authoritarian group of guys that they frankly, many of them are really angry at Hamas. So to empower Hamas during this critical period, I think that was Trump's first serious misstep in this process. Once you give them police power, very, very difficult to wrest it back.
Okay, well, everyone's hanging on to see what happens next. Janice Stein, thank you.
You're so welcome.
Now to a story on Canada's future as plans are embraced for a new prosperity in the subarctic.
The economic benefits of what we do will go back to the communities. It doesn't go back to Bay Street or Wall Street.
But what about this beluga community and the people who depend on it? That's next. Churchill, Manitoba could boom and grow like never before.
We're proud to be able to be part of our national solutions for our national goals.
But expanding the deepwater port is bound to make some trouble for belugas.
It is their safety. They come here to give birth.
The Prime Minister says developing Churchill will help all of Canada. Karen Pauls breaks down that promise of wealth and the changes it would bring that some call too dangerous.
This is what most people visualize when they think of Churchill, fittingly known as the polar bear capital of the world.
This is incredible.
People also come to see beluga whales and watch the aurora borealis. Now, the Prime Minister is promoting the Port of Churchill for his list of nation-building projects.
A new port, effectively in Churchill, Manitoba, which would open up enormous LNG plus other opportunities.
Chris Avery is feeling optimistic.
So there has been some activity. We want more, but there has been a fair bit of activity already, and it's growing.
He heads the group that owns the port and the railway, made up of 29 First Nations and 12 northern Manitoba communities.
The economic benefits of what we do will go back to the communities. It doesn't go back to Bay Street or Wall Street. All right, I'll let you get back to work.
The Churchill Plus proposal, worth billions, would upgrade Canada's only deep-water Arctic port and the rail line connecting it to the rest of the country, expand ice-breaking capacity, maybe even include oil and LNG pipelines, aiming to become a vital link between Canada and emerging Arctic shipping routes.
We're proud to be able to be part of our national solutions for our national goals, which is to diversify our trade, particularly away from the US, to become a global energy superpower, and also to assert our sovereignty in the north.
But is it viable? Research shows Hudson Bay has warmed more than 1 degree Celsius in the last 40 years. That means every year there's one more day of ice-free water. In this part of the bay, it's now ice-free almost 5 months. In 75 years, researchers predict ships will be able to sail from here all the way through the Hudson Strait to the Atlantic Ocean, most of the year without the support of icebreakers.
The opportunities for social, economic, industrial development is just absolutely unprecedented. But the challenges are enormous.
The University of Manitoba built this Churchill Marine Observatory to study climate change in the north, how it's affecting sea ice, the permafrost beneath the railway, the environment, and the animals, as well the impacts of more commercial shipping.
We had the first oil spill experiment here. We studied the capacity of natural microorganisms in degrading this oil. There will be risk, there will be impact, and that's why we need to develop this knowledge to make sure we reduce that impact to the minimum.
Talk to almost anyone here, and you'll hear concerns the port expansion would jeopardize a way of life, tourism, and the animals that live here.
Oh, there's tons of them just swimming down the river now. You'll see some white backs come up.
Aaron Green owns Sup North, a paddleboard tour company. She spends a lot of time on the water amongst thousands of beluga whales.
It's an incredibly special place for them. It is their safety. They come here to give birth. They play here, they eat here, they socialize. This is their home and where they feel safe. We're putting that sense of safety in jeopardy. We're putting their population in jeopardy.
She's worried the sound from construction and more ships at the port of Churchill will harm the whales.
Their entire world is sound. They communicate with sound, they see with sound. When you bring in big ships like that, you completely mask their ability to see.
Green doesn't think the whales or most Churchill residents have had a voice in this discussion.
I feel like it will obliterate everything that is special and beautiful about this place.
David Daly takes tourists out on sled dog rides all year round, showing them the beauty of this place.
Let's go now. Come on now. Let's go.
He says Churchill has been reinventing itself ever since the Danes arrived in 1619, looking for the Northwest Passage. Daly says there were times when Churchill had up to 6,000 residents, some with the military, others working at the port.
And when I was growing up here in the 60s and the 70s, there was ships lined up in the bay to come in. The port operated 24 hours around the clock. You'd watch B-52 bombers taking off and landing. There was people training from all around the world for Arctic combat, watching the skies for the Russians to invade.
Now, maybe 800 people live here year-round. Most work in tourism, but those who don't have few options. Daly sees the benefits of more economic development.
Yeah, we hope better jobs for our kids, better jobs for our grandkids in the future.
But he also worries more commercial shipping could impact tourism, and he hopes there will be more consultation.
Tourism has saved Churchill. I think the people that have the tourism relationship here in town, I think that they're a little apprehensive about, is this going to be rammed down our throat?
The goal is to find a balance in this.
Churchill's mayor, Mike Spence, says that this proposal could generate up to $1 billion in economic activity. But he knows that brings risks and responsibilities.
As Indigenous people, we're stewards of the land. We need to respect what the Creator has asked us to watch over.
Balancing the environment and economic development on the land and in the sea.
Now, Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew supports the Churchill port expansion, and that's just for starters. He's also talking up a proposed hydro fiber link to connect Manitoba's power grid to 5 communities in Nunavut using a transmission line of more than 1,000 kilometers. Well, coming up, a look behind the curtain at the call confirming the Nobel Peace Prize winner.
You're about to deliver a message that is really potentially life-changing.
Why that conversation touched a chord in our moment. This is the moment. Christian Berg-Harpviken called up the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize, Maria Corina Machado of Venezuela, to deliver the very big news. So while a Canadian had his Nobel notification spoiled a bit today, this call went as planned. A moment to remember, making our moment tonight.
You will be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for 2025.
Oh my God.
I was taken a little bit by surprise myself as to how emotional that was. You're about to deliver a message that is really potentially life-changing. More importantly, you are talking to a person who has virtually sacrificed anything for something that she believes in.
For her tireless work promoting democratic rights for the people of Venezuela, and for her struggle to achieve a just and peaceful transition from dictatorship to democracy.
We spoke for just short of 4 minutes. It's a very sort of dense moment. What perhaps surprised me even more was that so many people found a mature man being moved to be so charming.
Congratulations to you, Maria.
A lot of meaning packed into a few minutes there.
A lot of meaning for everybody. It was the first time he delivered this news, so it was huge for him. And basically, the announcement gets made at 11 o'clock in Oslo time, and he kept trying to reach her, and he only managed to do it 7 minutes before the official announcement. So there's a lot of stress making sure that this happens properly, and he gets to her first. From all of us at The National, thank you for being with us. I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Take care.